On today's episode of Locked On Pirates, we recap the home run derby in which Juan Soto defeated Julio Rodriguez and why a certain Pirate could eventually find himself in the home run derby. Also, David Bednar being the lone Pittsburgh Pirates All-Star in this year's event will have a much smaller role than Bryan Reynolds or Adam Frazier did, but what kind of role could we see David Bednar in, and could he potentially be saving the NL winning the game? I will also get into my predictions for the game tonight, as well as saying why All Star Weekend needs a little bit of a punch, a little bit of a punch to bring the fun back that's supposed to be surrounding the city of Los Angeles during this time. With that said, I'm, of course, your host who does the most, Ethan Smith, here at the Locked On Pirates podcast, where it is your Pittsburgh Pirates, your team, every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile and Built Bar. More on them later. But with that said, when the music hits, it's always time to get real. So let's have a fun episode.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to that Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, everybody. I am, of course, your host who does the most, Ethan Smith. Hope you all are having a phenomenal Tuesday, July 19th. As you see on the ticker on the bottom, thank you for making me your first listen of the day every single day. You guys absolutely smashed the view button and the like button on that video yesterday with me and Gary about Termarr Johnson and the home run derby and everything we talked about yesterday. And speaking of the home run derby, it was enjoyable, I would say. Juan Soto outdueling Julio Rodriguez in the final. Albert Pujols, I think, had the upset with Kyle Schwarber, but of course, there was controversy around that one of Schwarber's home runs that would have put them in a swing off was not counted. A lot of oddball stuff going on around the home run derby yesterday, and I don't know. It was just really weird for the home run derby. Los Angeles, of course, a semi-hitters friendly ballpark, but not really. It just didn't seem like the home run derby had the same feel that it usually has. Of course, Pete Alonso gets knocked out by Julio Rodriguez. You could kind of tell that he was audibly upset. It even looked like in the first round he might have hurt his back, which is why the home run derby is starting to get a little dicey in terms of who's going to be competing now, because you really don't want these stars to get hurt. But it was a fun event. The home run derby is always a fun event. I think it's one of the better events in all of sports. I just think it needs a little bit more. Just like a lot of things are centered around All-Star Weekend. The Celebrity All-Star Game is always cool. They always have the Celebrity Basketball Game for the NBA All-Star Weekend and stuff like that. But that's where I'm going to get into that a little bit more around my predictions, as well as talking about how All-Star Weekend can improve for Major League Baseball. But seeing Julio Rodriguez in that event yesterday made me really think that, of course, some people gave me a little bit of backlash on this, that O'Neal Cruz would not have been ready for the event this year, which I completely agree with. I don't think he would have been ready for the event this year. But O'Neal Cruz would be a very fun guy to see in that event, and I think that's what they need to kind of go towards more for the home run derby. It was cool seeing Alonso in there, Schwarber, Pujols, Soto. At the end of the day, the two youngest guys got into the final. And for me, for Major League Baseball, that should say a lot into what they need to be doing. The home run derby, for me, I think people would enjoy it a lot more if it was just rookies and young guys going out there. Now, of course, the star power is there. Last year, you had that awesome moment with Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto. This year, you had J-Ram, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Acuna versus Alonso, Julio Rodriguez, Kyle Schwarber, Albert Pujols, all big names, right? But at the end of the day, the final was against a 23-year-old and a 21-year-old. That's what baseball, I think, needs to push, especially for All-Star Weekend, mainly because, again, I get the star power is what speaks. It's what people will turn to. But All-Star Weekend is also a moment in time for a lot of these younger players like a Julio Rodriguez, who everybody knows now after last night's festivities. But you don't get to see the Mariners play on TV that much. You sure as hell ain't getting to see the Nationals play on TV that much with Soto. It would be nice to see baseball lean in a little bit more to younger players, because that's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to bring your audience to the young generation. And this is for guys like, or this is for these guys. The kids are going to grow up with Julio Rodriguez and Juan Soto, who, as I tweeted out yesterday, are going to be the faces of baseball for the next 10 years. They really are. The guys are young, they're studs, they're very good at what they do. They're going to be the face of baseball for the next 10 to 15 years, as long as they stay healthy. Fernando Tatis Jr., who's been injured all year, is another guy that I would love to see marketed way better. The home run derby, again, no issue with the format. I like the bracket format. I like the rules. I like the bonus time. I like the 1 minute of just swing offs, pretty much. I liked all of that. I just think Julio Rodriguez and Juan Soto getting to the final was definitely saying, hey, we need to push this more, amidst the fact that you also saw the MLB draft the other night, and you only see the first first round of the MLB draft on ESPN, and then of course the following stuff on MLB Network. And I get it, you're not seeing these guys for 5-6 years, but it would be very nice of Major League Baseball to market these young guys like the NFL has with a Joe Burrow and a Patrick Mahomes and a lot of those younger guys, or like the NBA has with Ja Morant, Trae Young, and Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Just how they market. You want to see this marketed a lot better, but we'll get into that a little bit more. Congrats to Juan Soto on winning the home run derby. Julio Rodriguez was definitely, I think, the fan favorite there for most of it. But Juan Soto wins the home run derby. I'd love to see O'Neal Cruz in the event at some point, some year. Does mess up swings a little bit, and I don't think we want to mess with O'Neal Cruz's swing a lot right now based off of how he's hitting. But before we get into David Bednar and his role in this year's All-Star game, let's talk about Blue Nile for a minute, guys. Guys, if you're listening to this podcast, you know there's two types of jewelry that Blue Nile sells. They sell wedding jewelry and everyday fine jewelry. And realistically, you really want to bring this kind of jewelry into your life for that special someone. Rings are always good. Rings are always beautiful. They always look flashy. You can do the whole thing. They're for guys and girls. But whether you're ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a milestone moment, find jewelry as unique as her with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile has online tools that let you choose the diamond shape, size, and clarity, as well as setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft her favorite and perfect engagement ring, and each ring is one of a kind. Looking for fine jewelry but having trouble choosing? Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7, available via phone or chat to help you find a memorable gift at every budget. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And going on now is the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale. You can save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what is inside. So shop stress-free and find your forever piece with history, credibility, value with handcrafted quality, legendary service, and peace of mind. And go to BlueNile.com today. So last year, in the All-Star game, the Pirates had two guys that were there, Bryan Reynolds and Adam Frazier. Adam Frazier, of course, had that awesome promo where he was wearing the backwards hat like I am right now. And Bryan Reynolds, of course, was in the event last year as well. Of course, their only participant in this year's All-Star game is, of course, David Bednar. Relief arms are always very interesting when it comes to the All-Star game because you don't know how they're going to be used. You don't know if they're going to be implemented very well. You don't know. Best case scenario, for Pirates fans especially, he doesn't play at all. I know that sounds weird, but the guy just pitched Sunday when realistically going into All-Star weekend is kind of shaky, but he just pitched yesterday or Sunday. You really, as a Pirates fan right now, knowing how valuable this guy is to your team, you don't want him going out there and, not saying he's going to get hurt if he pitches to one batter. It's probably very, very highly unlikely and very improbable. Best case scenario, David Bednar does not get in the All-Star game. Does it suck for Pirates fans that he's the only representative of the team and might not get in the game? Yes. But among a lot of fan bases, especially I'd say Tampa Bay and LA tonight, you're really hoping Shane McClanahan and Clayton Kershaw take it easy. Now, not saying those guys are going to come right out of this game and pitch Thursday or Friday. It's very highly unlikely. But the All-Star game, again, I think just needs a little punch. And we're going to get into that in my predictions at the end. But if David Bednar does get in, I would love to see him save the game for the National League. I think that would be absolutely awesome for him. I just don't know. David Bednar, of course, highly deserving of this spot, by the way. We're going to get into that a little bit here as soon as I pull up his stats, which I should have had already, but, it's okay. That's why Baseball Reference, the best website in the world, exists. But a career 3.11 ERA guy, of course, that includes when he was in San Diego and his ERA was above a 6.5 those 2 years, but a 2.23 ERA last year, a 2.89 this year, 16 saves and 43 and 2/3 innings pitched. David Bednar deserves to be here. And there's just a different feel for when David Bednar comes out of the bullpen and the Pirates are trying to win a game. What do I mean by that? There's not many closers in baseball that work 2 to 3 innings like David Bednar can. Now, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with David Bednar doing that, but it's very nice to see that David Bednar can be that reliable. Now, of course, moving into the offseason, you're hoping David Bednar does get some help in that department, obviously. And you're also hoping that maybe at some point another bullpen arm emerges that doesn't have to make him do this on a daily basis. David Bednar deserves to be here. I think he's a top 5 closer in baseball this year. He's had his moments. I believe he has 4 blown saves this year, if I'm not mistaken. I know he has 16 saves. I don't know how many blown saves he has. But the dude's awesome. He got Rookie of the Year votes last year. He's an All-Star this year. A 1.0 above 1,000 WHIP, which is always really good to have. 147 ERA plus. Last year was a 192, which is very good. 57 strikeouts to 13 walks. You guys know me. I love the strike-to-walk ratio. I absolutely adore it. A 1.2 WAR. The stats speak for themselves. Really, at the heart of it, All-Star David Bednar is realistically the best player on this Pirates team. And I would also even go as far outside of Bryan Reynolds to say that if the Pirates were just in full sell mode, Bryan Reynolds is obviously going to get you the biggest package back. Ke'Bryan Hayes, probably up there in the top 5. David Bednar, though, for how good of a closer he is, would get you a pretty damn good package back. I'm going to be honest. That's what speaks to him being an all-star, though, I think, is Reynolds came on in June. Of course, we know June Reynolds is the best Reynolds. Ke'Bryan Hayes has had a good year in terms of defensive run save, but when you're looking at the All-Star game, I'm going to be honest, they don't really look at defense. But again, David Bednar is highly deserving of this. It's just, I want to know your thoughts on this too. Do you want to even see Bednar pitch in this game tonight? Because for me, I really don't. I don't want to see him touch the mound tonight. And if he does, one batter. That's it. One batter. Hit him with the curveball, the splitter, and the fastball. Strike him out. Move on. Go to the bench. Have a good time. Drink a couple IC lights. I don't want to see David Bednar pitch in this game just because of the fact that, 1, he's already been on the IL this year. 2, he's mismanaged out of the bullpen, as I mentioned, with the 3 innings that he gets every once in a while. And 3, he's the second most valuable player on this team, I would say right now, behind Bryan Reynolds. Because again, closers are not very valuable in the fact that they don't really do much except come into the game and finish it off for you. But David Bednar is different for this team because there have been games the Pirates arguably should have lost, and David Bednar saved the day. Hence the positive WAR number. And it's crazy, too, because when you look into David Bednar's WAR across his career, it's wild because in San Diego, he was just a completely different pitcher. Like when we traded for him, the main allure for David Bednar was, oh, he's from Mars, PA. That was what we got him for. Now, his main draw is David Bednar is the reason why the Pirates are winning more games than they probably should be with a crappy offense. And that's one thing that I have liked as of recent, too, alongside the lines of David Bednar, is the starting pitching is pitching a ton better than it was before the year started at the beginning of the year. And he is really, again, the big reason why the Pirates, with those 16 saves, you cut 5 of those away, and this team is completely different. As I've also stated, and we'll get into this a little bit this week before the second half about what they need to fix. They need to start winning some of these one-run games. But David Bednar, the All-Star, he highly deserves it. Again, just my honest opinion, I don't want to see the guy pitch tonight. I'd love to see him have like a cool little snazzy picture or something along those lines. But I'm mainly watching the All-Star game tonight just because to see the star power, to see all that. And I don't have to worry about the Pirates having any major injuries, I would assume. That's if David Bednar even gets the nod to get in the game, because Dave Roberts, of course, being the manager of the National League, I believe, he ain't going to put David Bednar in the game probably. But we'll see how they manage it. We'll see what happens. And with that said, before we get into my All-Star game predictions, as well as how Major League Baseball needs to change up the style of the MLB All-Star Game, today's episode is brought to you by the best protein bars on planet Earth. From the people who invented healthy and tasty comes the latest gift to your taste buds. You've probably tried the amazing Coconut Brownie Chunk Built Bar, but guess what? Your friends at Built have given Coconut Brownie Chunk the Coconut Brownie Chunk the Puffs treatment. That's right. The Coconut Brownie Chunk Built Bar flavor you love and a deliciously chewy marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. It's like a fluffy cloud of coconut brownie goodness. But stop drooling and listen. They are good for you. Low calorie, low sugar, high protein, and all delicious. Coconut Brownie Chunk Puffs are only here for a limited time, so go to Built.com now to make sure you don't miss out. They are going fast because they taste amazing. All Built bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. The best part about Built Puffs is, of course, they taste amazing, but you can enjoy them guilt-free because they are actually good for you. They are the perfect treat, perfect when you catch a craving, you need to satisfy your sweet tooth, or you need a quick, healthy snack. They are an excellent source of protein. Delicious coconut, rich, sweet brownie, creamy marshmallow. Stop fantasizing and get to Built.com to order your box of Coconut Brownie Chunk Built Puffs right now. Say that 10 times fast. Go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off of your order when you invest in the best protein bars on planet Earth. The All-Star game is tonight. All-Star festivities are about over. We're almost to the second half of the year. Trade talks have already kind of went wacko with the Juan Soto trade thing. I'm here to tell you, as a host of Locked On Pirates, the Pirates will not be getting the services of Juan Soto. But 8 o'clock Eastern time on Fox, of course, there's going to be a little hangout tonight with the Locked On MLB Podcast Network watching the All-Star game. The American League All-Stars features Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Rafael Devers, Vladimir Guerrero, Giancarlo Stanton, Byron Buxton, Tim Anderson, Andreas Jimenez, and Alejandro Kirk. Meanwhile, the National League, which will feature David Bednar, features Ronald Acuna, Mookie Betts, Manny Machado, Paul Goldschmidt, Trey Turner, the Contreras brothers of Wilson and William Contreras, Jock Peterson, and Jeff McNeil. Pretty loaded lineups, right? I am going to go out on a limb and say that the American League wins this game. I think they have the better overall roster. I think they have the better overall pitching. And I think the American League will also do better in Dodger Stadium. Now, with that said, if I'm putting my money where my mouth is in terms of who will be the All-Star Game MVP, that one's tough. Because obviously it'll go to one of the AL guys, considering I'm predicting the American League to win the game. But I'm going to go a little off-brand here with one of my favorite players in all of Major League Baseball. I think Tim Anderson is going to win All-Star Game MVP. I firmly believe that. I think my top 3 odds to win All-Star Game MVP, in my opinion, this is just Ethan Smith, host who does the most of the Locked On Pirates podcast opinion, so don't sit here and go to Bet Online and bet Tim Anderson to win MVP and then be mad at me that he doesn't. But I think Tim Anderson has a real good shot to win it. I think Jock Peterson even has a pretty good shot to do it, returning to Dodger Stadium where he used to play. Or maybe, just maybe, Julio Rodriguez, who had a tear of a night last night at the Derby, comes off the bench and just tears it up again in the All-Star game. Tim Anderson, Jock Peterson, Julio Rodriguez. 2 I think is going to do it. I'm predicting the AL wins in like a 9-8 game. I think it'll be really close. I'd love it to go to a home run derby swing off. I think that would be so much fun. I'm really hoping that happens, but I don't think it will. I think the American League wins this one 9-8. But let's go ahead and talk about this because this is something that came to my mind yesterday about how Major League Baseball can make All-Star Weekend more fun. The home run derby is fine. Keep it. The home run derby is fine. Celebrity All-Star softball game, fine. Keep it. It's dope. Why does Major League Baseball not have a skills challenge? I'm going to let you guys ponder that one. They should have a skills challenge. But here's the other big thing. I'm coming at you Tuesday, July 19th. Why are we having an All-Star game on a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern when people have work tomorrow? Kids can't stay up to watch it that late because it's not going to be over until like a midnight because of the amount of pitching changes to get all the pitchers in. And it's on the West Coast. You could have did this at 8 o'clock Saturday night. So all I'm saying is, this is all I'm saying. Friday could have been the celebrity softball game. So you could have stopped playing on Thursday. Everybody could have played or Wednesday. Everybody could have played that final series, gave them the day off to get to LA, and then did that. You could have had the Creators Cup for MLB The Show 22 at noon Eastern, or at like 3 Eastern time, which would have lasted until about 5 or 6. You could have had the celebrity softball game that day, and you could have thrown in a skills challenge all on Friday. Saturday comes around, you have the home run derby, or you could have the home run derby on Friday night as your headliner. And then Saturday night, imagine this past Saturday instead of tonight. This past Saturday was when the All-Star game was. It'd be watched way more than it will be tonight. I guarantee that right now. An NFL preseason game, and I will bet this right now, an NFL preseason game will get more views than this game does. Whatever NFL preseason game is on ESPN or NFL Network at whatever time will get more views than the MLB All-Star game will tonight. Watch. Now, my idea for the All-Star game is kind of a spin off of what the NHL does. Instead of doing the National League versus the American League, like they used to, you could still do the voting that way. Don't get me wrong, you could still do the voting that way, because even the NHL still does it. Do it like the NHL does a little bit, where you have the East, the Central, and the West. And you just combine the NL East and the AL East, combine the NL Central and the AL Central, and combine the NL West and the AL West. For example, in the starting lineup, could you imagine an outfield for the All-Star game? Like, the outfield for the NL is pretty good. Betts, Acuna, Peterson. Could you imagine, though, if the NL East and the AL East were merged together and you had Ronald Acuna, Aaron Judge, Rafael Devers, Vladimir Guerrero, Alejandro Kirk, and Giancarlo Stanton all in one lineup? That'd be awesome. And then do it like the NHL All-Star Game does. Do a round robin, so each team plays each other once. 3-inning games. 3-inning games. What does that save? The pitchers don't have to pitch as long. All the pitchers will get in at that point, because if you win, you have to play 3 games. So they'll all get in. And 3 innings of baseball, if a team scores a run, the other team is immediately on the fence. And I think it'd be more competitive. And also do it the way that the NHL All-Star Game does, and let each team pick a charity. And since you're all for making these jerseys all the time, make an East jersey, a Central jersey, and a West jersey. Because guess what? That means you get to sell more jerseys, Major League Baseball. I think that would be a phenomenal idea. But again, my final predictions for tonight: I think the AL wins 9-8. I think Tim Anderson, Jock Peterson, or Julio Rodriguez will win All-Star Game MVP. And I think it's going to be a fun time. Maybe David Bednar gets in the game. Maybe he doesn't. We will see. But with that said, guys, I am, of course, your host who does the most, Ethan Smith. Thank you for listening to my rant about the All-Star Game. All-Star Game, of course, tonight on Fox at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Join the Locked On Podcast Network crew on Locked On MLB for just a little hangout. We're going to be watching the All-Star Game together, so that'll be pretty fun. Be up to 4 hosts at a time. Also, on tomorrow's episode, we're going to recap the All-Star Game, maybe if David Bednar does something cool. And we're also going to take a look at what the Pirates need to improve on for the second half. On Thursday, we're going to preview the Marlins series, and then on Friday, we'll do something fun. With that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Locked On Pirates podcast today. My name is Ethan Smith, your host who does the most, and I will see you on the flip side.